What's up, guys? Pypo here, bringing you a video today doing some guides for hunters in 6.02. Keep in mind, this is for 6.0.2, guys. The reason I say that is some of these changes, I'm guessing, are going to be fixed in the future just because of how basically unbalanced they are. We seem to be a bit underpowered right now. Might be different at 100. Obviously, we can't even really see what level 100 spec to our talent to choose just yet. But as of right now, 6.0.2 and going forward into Warlords of Draenor, this is what I found to be the best spec. I'm going to go over a few options with each of the talents and how to play it. Obviously, it differs for certain situations, so basically it's preference for some of them, whereas others is kind of essential. Now, first talent, Narrow Escape, Post Haste. Obviously, I should mention before you get into this, Marksmanship is what I'm talking about, guys. The three specs, all of them have their bonuses. For instance, if you really like dot damage, Survival is actually really good for dot damage, and I've been able to kill a few people on Survival from around poles, and it's good sustained damage. Not too bad, but I find the sustained of BM to be better than Survival, and it's more sustained, but doesn't have much burst. Whereas MM, I feel, is the highest damage, and it's very bursty. If you can land it, it works very well, and it's a lot easier to actually kill someone with MM than some of the other specs. So that is why I've chosen MM to be the best, most viable spec as of right now. Now, Narrow Escape, I use simply because I'm on an Australian net, and I'm using Narrow Escape to trap people. If you're unaware what that looks like, it's just when you trap it webs, and then I'll throw a trap onto them because obviously we don't have scatter anymore. If you have an American net and you're absolutely fine at landing traps, I would pick up Post Haste. Narrow Escape isn't really needed that bad unless you have really shitty net and you need it to help you trap. Second spec here is Binding Shot or Wyvern Sting. Obviously, if you're BM, you might want to pick up Intimidation. Not something I'm really into that much. Wyvern Sting, obviously, for a bit more CC if you're looking for that. I use the Bind Shot because I do a lot more BGs than Arenas. But if you're going to do Arenas, I feel like Wyvern Sting will be a very viable option for you. Third spec, Exhilaration, still just as shit as always. Not something you want to be into. Iron Hawk. Reduces all damage taken by 10%. It's pretty good. If you're running with a healer, maybe. But if you're running Lone Wolf like me, or even if you're running with a healer, while your pet is active, you and your pet will regenerate 2% of your total health every 2 seconds. It's very, very good still. And even though you take a lot of damage, if you have enough to kind of stay alive and get out of the situation, usually it's enough to kind of get you back into the fight while you're hiding behind a pole or something like that in Arena. Next up, now you have two choices on the level 60 tier here as well, which is Thrill of the Hunt or Steady Focus. Now, if you are feeling focus starved, pick up Steady Focus. It's very good, but keep in mind the mechanic of it, which is obviously using Steady Shot twice in a row, increases your focus regeneration by 50%. Now, the problem with this is Steady Shot is a long cast. It takes a while to get out there. So 1, 2, you know, it's a while. Not to mention like those two will generate you some focus. I like how I missed both of those shots. Wow, those are like it's very long shots. So by the time you get those two off, you're probably gonna have some focus back already. So you might not need it, but if you really are feeling focus starved, I would pick up Steady Focus. Whereas with me, I'm not feeling that focus starved, and I really like the procs on Thrill of the Hunt for those arcane shots, or I shouldn't say arcane shots anymore, for those aim shots, because obviously they did remove arcane shot for MM. Next up, Blink Strike is very good for sustained damage. If you're looking for more sustained damage, definitely pick up Blink Strike. Stampede is worthless. Just forget about it, guys. As of right now, it seems pretty shitty right now. Murder of Crows. They've reduced the cooldown of this to 1 minute. And it's become it's very, very viable right now. And I find it doing a lot of damage. And just on top of all my other damage, it seems to fit in perfectly with my rotation. Next up is obviously Glaive Toss. You can pick up Barrage if you're doing some PvE or something like that, but for PvP Barrage, I mean, it just isn't really worth it. I find in the AOE spread and shit's going everywhere. I don't like it. Power Shot can be used for a few combos. If you want to combo in some random fucking bullshit like an aim shot, power shot combo into a chimp shot, some bullshit, but I don't find that into my opening combo very useful as of right now. That's why I keep it with the Glaive Toss. So you're probably wondering, Pypo, how have you glyphed? Now again, keep in mind, these are BG glyphs, guys, but I'm going to go through some of them to just let you know what they do. Glyph of Explosive Trap, obviously I use it for knockbacks, and with the immediate proc chance on traps, this is actually a lot more useful now, where I can just knock people back directly off of me. If I have a warrior on me, I can drop it on my feet, and it'll get knocked back immediately. It doesn't have that like activation time, so usually before, warrior would run over trap, and it would keep running over because it didn't activate in time, or it would even shoot them in the way you're running, whereas now you can land it and push people off you a lot easier. I like it a lot. Stealth, there is a bug right now, as of right now, guys, there's a bug in the game where your pet is able to be seen while in stealth. So this actual glyph is kind of shit right now until they fix that bug, but I still just have it in there because I will be using it eventually. I wanted to put it in the guide so you guys know what to pick once the bug is fixed, which should be soon, probably in a restart or something like that. And of course, Glyph of Solace, it's kind of just needed. I mean, it doesn't really need an explanation. It just so your ice traps do not get broken by some, some dot or your crows or something like that. It just won't get broken because you have Solace. Now the rotation is kind of dull. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Obviously, as MM, one of the new mechanics is you have to stand still to get this buff right here, Sniper Training. Sniper Training works very well, obviously, if you're standing the fuck still and you get that increased 11% damage. I think it's 8% in PvP, I'm not too sure. But as soon as you start to move, you see here the buff starts going off. But if you stand still again, in 3 seconds, you'll get it again. Which means if you start moving, you can actually move around for, say, 3 seconds and then stop to get it back into, as you see there, I stopped at the perfect amount of time and I'll get it back immediately. So that way, it's kind of a weird way to play MM. And honestly, guys, I don't want you going into an arena or a BG planning to stand still. It's more of if you can land, do it. If you can land a standstill combo, do it, but do not sacrifice your survivability because everyone is so squishy now. But that's one of the reasons I like MM. You can just blast someone in the face. So I'm going to show you guys the opener real quick to a PvP combo, which is simply, you see someone, for instance, I'm just going to go to a lower target so I can definitely hit it here, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to miss the fucking elite ones over here. So we got a target over here, we see someone, what's the game plan? I'm going to immediately pop an aim shot into a chimp shot. If you're lucky, those 2 shots, they're already dead. I have 2-shot people with that combination. It's kind of ridiculous. It's kind of OP, but what are you going to do about it? It's the first couple of weeks of the patch. It's going to be a bit broken. So obviously, you do your aim shot, and then you immediately do a chimp shot, and I usually go into a glaive toss, and then I'll do 2 steady shots. 2 steady shots back to back to get some focus. I'll apply my crows, pop a cooldown, start spamming out some steady shots. Usually by this time, you do have a proc, so you can start spamming, doing some more chimp shots, throwing them in there. And the problem is with hunters, I find, as of right now, is you're going to be a bit focus starved. Now, focus starved is a real big problem, and obviously, if you're really feeling the burn, you can pick up steady focus and start just going ham on steady focus and making sure you're full on that focus. But I find it's not necessarily needed as of right now, because you just absolutely rape immediately. Like, you just do so much damage. And I'm guessing it will be fixed later, guys, so enjoy it while it lasts, but also, obviously, we are getting destroyed by a few other races and a few other specs, I should say, or classes even. So that's pretty much all I need to cover as of 6.0.2, guys. Not that much changed, except for them removing a lot of things, and obviously you don't need to apply Serpent Sting, and you don't need to, do fucking Hunter's Mark and shit like that. And there's a lot of stuff that's missing. As you see, my bars are pretty empty right now, just because I haven't moved anything to fill those spots. But basically, guys, that's all you need to know about 6.0.2. MM does seem to be the best, but I encourage you to go and check out the other specs for yourself, see what you like, because they are pretty close. I always say, personally, play what you like to play, and all of them are close enough right now, and especially in this beta kind of patch first getting on live phase, it's when you should be testing stuff yourself. But I have found this to be the most effective, and this to be the most damaging in arenas as of right now. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're new here, I will see you in the next video. See you later, guys.
Oh, no, Pypo, don't do it! Come to your senses, Pypo, now! Ah! Blast 'em!